do you think that GPs have so far managed this phase of the rollout so successfully?
Well, because GPs are used to doing vaccinations. I mean, last year with the flu vaccination, we did 6 million in 6 weeks. So, given the right supply and the right timing, we can get it done. We do this all the time.
Speaking of supply, are you getting enough to meet the demand?
From my understanding of the forums and in my own clinic, we have got not enough supply compared to what we can do. So we're waiting for that supply to ramp up.
And what sort of an impact is this having on clinics in general in terms of their preparation?
In terms of preparation, we're ready to go, but it's just frustrating because there's a little bit of stuttering and a little bit of unpredictability in being able to book people in appropriately. So I think that'll get going as everything starts to settle down and the cogs get oiled, so to speak. So I'm hopeful this will be ironed out very shortly.
Well, Australia is far behind its inoculation schedule right now, and particularly when you compare it to other countries around the world. Does it make us more vulnerable to an outbreak here in Australia, like what we're seeing in Queensland?
Well, you're right. We're a little bit behind on our vaccination schedule, but we're far ahead in every other respect. So I think we've got a little bit of a breathing space, but clearly we've got to get going. So I'd encourage everyone to just keep tight and hanging on another couple of weeks, and we'll get round to everybody.
How much breathing room, though, do we have? Yesterday was the last day of March. Well, we're meant to have 4 million Australians vaccinated, but only 600,000 have been in that time frame.
It's hard to know, but I think we do have to get going. That's very clear.
And do you believe that the slow rollout contributed to that outbreak in Queensland? Because we have a situation where a healthcare worker was unvaccinated and unknowingly had COVID.
It's very clear that frontline healthcare workers need to be vaccinated as a priority, and they have been prioritised in those cohorts. So I'm not sure what happened in Queensland in terms of that rollout for the healthcare workers involved, but clearly they're in the first phases of the vaccination schedule.
Take us through the regional GP rollout. What's the situation there? Are they also struggling to keep up with the demand?
I've heard very patchy reports. I think there's some areas where they're not getting enough doses for the region, and other areas where they seem to be ticking along okay. So it is very patchy, and I think that's a bit difficult because rural people, of course, are trying to find areas that within their areas that they can get vaccinated in. So it's challenging for yet again another cohort of people needing to be vaccinated.
And are people in those areas, are they booking appointments? Is phase 1B going as planned?
For some areas, yes, but in other areas, as I said, there's not enough supply. So we're trying to, at general practice level, trying to sort of say to people, look, just slow down a bit. We'll call you, we'll stratify perhaps our 90-year-olds first, which is what we're doing in our clinic, and trying to get through everybody as quick as we can get the doses into arms. We will be doing it.
Let's talk about the outbreak now in Byron Bay. We saw late yesterday, of course, the Byron Bay Blues Fest music festival. It was cancelled. Do you think that was the right decision?
Absolutely. A mass collection of people like that with community spread is not a good idea. Absolutely the right decision. Sadly, very sadly.
Yeah, and we're only a few hours now, or an hour or so away from finding out whether or not that lockdown in Queensland will be extended. Based on the trajectory at the moment, do you think that Queensland or Greater Brisbane should come out of lockdown?
Look, that's a decision for the chief medical officers, and I have full confidence they'll make the right decision there.
And do you think the lockdown was appropriate?
Absolutely. It's a way of short-circuiting community spread and making sure we get all the contact tracing done very, very quickly so that we can really limit the amount of time we spend in lockdown.
Dr. Karen Price, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me this morning.
A pleasure. Thank you.